Are you tired of struggling with oxidizer monitoring in challenging waters? Introducing Pyxis Labs OxyPanel Plus, the revolutionary solution for water treatment professionals. This non-wet chemistry amperometric multi-parameter sensor measures oxidizer, pH, ORP, and temperature all in one platform. Say goodbye to reagents and constant maintenance. With automated flow control and a touchscreen display, OxyPanel Plus is the future of oxidizer monitoring. Water professionals deserve better tools, and Pyxis Lab delivers. Go to scalinguph2o.com/Pyxis. Once again, that's scalinguph2o.com/PYXIS. Pyxis, because water professionals deserve better. Your system deserves the best, and so do you. Thermal Fluid Technologies brings you Protocol heat transfer fluids. Formulated with their innovative no-pit inhibitors designed to keep your systems efficient and corrosion-free. Whether it's HVAC, food processing, or beverage applications, their glycol-based solutions deliver reliability where it matters most. Plus, with their comprehensive coolant testing program, you can rest assured knowing your system is always operating at its best. Discover the difference by going to scalinguph2o.com/TFT. Once again, that's scalinguph2o.com/TFT. Thermal Fluid Technologies, where performance meets peace of mind. Happy Industrial Water Week, Scaling Up Nation. You have landed on your official place to celebrate Industrial Water Week. Yes, that is the Scaling Up H2O podcast. And since we have been celebrating Industrial Water Week, I want to say this is year 8. We have been bringing you special episodes during Industrial Water Week. Industrial Water Week and the Scaling Up H2O podcast started right around the same time, and we go together like what goes together? Peanut butter and jelly? I don't know, but we are the official place to celebrate Industrial Water Week, and you are here, and today is Pretreatment Monday. Yes, October 6th starts Industrial Water Week with Pretreatment Monday. Now, if you're wondering, what is the mathematical formula for when we have Industrial Water Week? It's always the first phase of the moon. No, it's nothing like that. It is always the first full week in October. And nation, I am so excited. This is my favorite time of year. It's like Christmas around here because we refer to this as our Super Bowl. Folks, we do an episode each and every day this week. We are going to celebrate Pretreatment Monday today. We're going to celebrate Boiler Tuesday tomorrow. Then it's Cooling Wednesday, then Wastewater Thursday, and then we'll wrap everything up with Careers Friday. So for us, putting on a podcast like this is over a month's worth of shows all in one week. That's how hard we celebrate Industrial Water Week. And why do we do that? Because it is the best career on the planet. We are celebrating all things Industrial Water Week, and I want you to celebrate with us. And you might be asking, how do you properly celebrate Industrial Water Week? Well, the first thing is you need to celebrate that you are in the best career on the planet. Wow, how lucky are we? We get to be in industrial water. Folks, my dad introduced me to industrial water. I didn't even know it was a job. I thought it was just something my dad did, and I have never regretted it. I have seen so many things and how they are made, and I have gotten personal tours through plants where the people that make those things, that work at those plants, are so proud to show me what it is that they do. And then I get to reciprocate by making sure that they have the best water treatment in that facility in the land where they are getting clean equipment. They're getting reliable service. They're getting the best heat transfer within that equipment, which means that they're paying less for power that they don't have to use because the equipment is so clean that they are getting rid of that heat the way the equipment is designed for. And they're using less water, the most valuable thing on the planet, and they are using it responsibly. They are using it well, and they are using it because of us, the industrial water treater. So, nation, make sure you are celebrating you this week. And some other things you can do to celebrate is you can take some pictures of you out in the field. For example, today is Pretreatment Monday. Maybe you have a favorite water softener. A couple of years ago, I took a picture of myself in front of the water softener we have here at our plant. And it was pretty cool, right? And a lot of you did the same thing. And we do that each and every year just to celebrate the equipment that we're working on and the fact that we get to see each other and we realize how large the Scaling Up Nation is, how large the industrial water treatment community is. So I would love it if you took a picture in front of some of the pieces of equipment each day as we're celebrating that day, and then hashtag that to IWW25 and Scaling Up H2O. And then you can simply just go to those and you can see all of the great equipment that we are treating, but then also all of the amazing people within the Scaling Up Nation. We're all doing the same thing. We are celebrating industrial water treatment. So that's another thing you can do to celebrate. Now, the thing I really hope you do is that you do something with your team. Folks, let's face it. We are always in the day-to-day of industrial water treatment. We are planning to give the best service that we can, and then a phone call comes, it disrupts the entire day, and then we have to reset and figure out how we're going to get everything done. But each and every week, we do it, and we do it well. Well, we're going to do the same thing this week, but I want to make sure that we are celebrating as a team. So make sure if you guys are sharing team messages, or maybe you're on Slack, or maybe it is a group text between your team, make sure you're doing something each and every day to recognize what we're celebrating either on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, and make it fun within your team. I think that that will help build the team, and it will allow us to remember why we are a team, because we are industrial water treaters. The other thing I want you to do is I want you to celebrate Industrial Water Week with your family. Folks, I am in this industry because of my father. I've shared on this show several times how my father would get me involved in some of the testing that he did. When I was really young, I had no idea what I was doing except for enjoying the time with my father. Now, I was counting how many drops it went from red to blue, and then I would tell my dad, hey, it was this many drops, and he would do the multiplication. I had no idea I was doing a hardness test. Of course, I know I'm doing that now, but what I knew back then is I really enjoyed being with my dad, and I felt like I was really helping him. Of course, I don't know how much help I was. That probably took a lot longer for that whole dialogue to take place, but my dad knew that he was investing in me. Now, he had no idea that I was going to become a professional industrial water treater like he was, but that's how it started. So, folks, do your kids know what it is that you do? Is there any way you can involve your families in celebrating Industrial Water Week? Maybe this is the week you tell your family what it is that you really do at the dinner table. I know that's difficult, but let people know that we are in an amazing industry and all the wonderful things that we do and how we are taking care of the planet just by the means of doing our regular work And we are taking care of our customers, making sure that they can hire people, they can get the best equipment, they can do everything because we're putting money on their bottom line because we are working with them. They have a more profitable business. Folks, that is something to celebrate. And then on Friday, something that you can do is you can get a cake for your team. Now let's talk about cakes. A couple of years ago, we released the recipe for the water cake. Now, we did not come up with the recipe. Please don't blame us for that. This is a recipe that's been around for centuries. They say it was George Washington's favorite cake, but I don't see how it could be. I've had it. I am not a fan. It's called the water cake, and it has nothing in it that can perish. So I guess they traveled with it when they didn't have refrigeration. Some people in the Scaling Up Nation say they absolutely love it. I'm not going to pass judgment on you. If you like it, that is fantastic. In fact, my grandmother used to say when somebody didn't like something, if we all like the same thing, we would run out. So there we go. There is plenty of water cake to go around. You enjoy that. We're going to have the recipe for you on our show notes page. If you want to make that on Friday, by all means, enjoy that. In fact, there was somebody that caught me at an AWT conference, and they say whenever they have a new team member, they have that new team member enjoy a water cake that they made for them. That's their rites of passage. Well, folks, if you want to do that on Friday, knock yourselves out. But what we're going to do, we went to our neighborhood Publix bakery. That's the grocery store we have here in Atlanta. And we gave them a copy of the Industrial Water Week logo, and they put that on a cake, and we're going to pick that up on Friday, and we are going to enjoy that. Now, you might say, Trace, where did you get the logo? Well, our friend James McDonald has an entire website devoted to Industrial Water Week. And you guessed it, it's industrialwaterweek.com. And you can find everything Industrial Water Week on that website, including not just that logo, but a logo for every single day. James does these great memes, these great cartoons. They're all up there. There are videos up there about it. So Nation, if you want to learn anything and everything about Industrial Water Week, that's where you can go. And don't worry about writing that down. We're going to have it on our show notes page. Everything is going to be there. But the bottom line is you need to celebrate this week. Folks, we are in the best industry in the world. Happy Industrial Water Week. I'm going to be celebrating with you each and every day with a brand new episode. Nation, the theme this week is Water's Industrial Journey, from foundations to future. And I want you to think back of all the things that you did in order to get to where you are right now. I want you to think back to how you had to build a foundation of knowledge, where all the things that you know now, all the things that you can just look at and you know because of the experience that you've had, it wasn't always like that. And how did you get to where you are now? Now, some of you might be listening, and maybe it's your first week. Maybe it's your first couple of weeks. Well, you are making that foundation, and congratulations on being in this industry. Right now, you are creating the foundation of your career. Now, when I think back of my dad at the kitchen table, and him teaching me stuff that I really didn't even know I was learning when I would go out with him when I was a kid. I know not everybody has those memories. But then when he started training me as an industrial water treater, and he started with what the basics were, and then he built on those basics, and then I thought everything was brand new. I didn't think anything was interconnected until one day I started seeing it. And that was one of the coolest times because I really started understanding what it was I thought I knew, but I just knew it. I didn't understand it. Once I could start interconnecting it and realize how it all worked together, that's when understanding took place. And me as a trainer today, That is my favorite thing to see when I train this industry. So that's what I want you to think about this week. I want you to think about the foundation that you're either creating right now or that you have created, and how you have built on that foundation to be where you are right now. Now, here's the wonderful thing about water treatment, and our theme is from foundations to futures. The sky is the limit in industrial water treatment. If you love to learn, boy, have you selected the best career ever, because there is never a dearth of learning in industrial water treatment. Because we are in this industry, because this industry is ever changing, we get to learn something new every day. And folks, if you are not taking advantage of this industry. My dad would tell me you're not doing it right. If you ever find yourself thinking you know everything there is to know about industrial water treatment, I'm going to urge you to do what my father told me to do if I ever felt that way. Find a new career, because this one is not working for you. You are not listening to what it's trying to tell you, and perhaps there's another one out there that will suit you better. There is never a stop in learning in industrial water treatment, and I find that exhilarating. I find that so exciting, and that is what we are celebrating this entire Industrial Water Week, water's industrial journey from foundations to futures. Well, Nation, today is Pretreatment Monday, and we're going to be celebrating all things pre-treatment. And of course, the theme of pre-treatment is how do we get water as conditioned as possible for the equipment that it's getting ready to go in. So all of the things we do in the beginning to get more mileage out of the water when it goes into our heat transfer equipment, that is pre-treatment. What's your pre-treatment story? And I sure hope that you share it with somebody today. Maybe it's at the dinner table tonight. Maybe it's with a team member. I also hope that whatever your favorite pre-treatment equipment is, that you're going to hashtag that to IWW25 and scaling up H2O. And I want to tell you a story that I remember. I was relatively young in this industry, and my dad was teaching me how to do an elution study. And my dad was really good. He could go from, this is the simple explanation so you understand where you're going. This is the complex explanation, all the things around that. And then I'm going to recap to let you know how we met the simple explanation to the advanced explanation. That was pretty much how he taught. And we went through step by step how to do an elution study, and we looked at all the different curves. I can't tell you how much I ran, how many times I ran that chloride test. I think we had a salometer. I'm pretty sure we had a salometer, but he was showing me the correlation and the mathematical way to also use a chloride test and verify that with a salometer. So we did all of that. And he showed me all of these different things that would happen. If the curve looked like this, we had this problem. If the curve looked like that, we had that problem. And then at the very end, he said, you know, Trace, really the simplest thing to do is just replace the induction valve, and that will solve 9 out of 10 problems that you can have. And you don't have to waste your time with an elution study. And he was laughing as he said that. And then he gave me some examples of that. And I will tell you, in my time since then, and that was way early in my career, I have not been able to prove him wrong. Now, I'm glad I know how to run an elution study, and I've been able to make a lot of softeners work a lot more efficiently because I know how to do that. But I will tell you, 9 times out of 10, when you're having a problem, replace that induction valve, and it's probably going to solve your problem. Scale Up Nation, each and every day this week, we have some special guests. They're guests that you have heard on this very podcast, and they were so generous, they have recorded a message for you for the exact day that we are celebrating. And I am so excited. Here is Tessa Ng.
Happy Pretreatment Monday, Scaling Up Nation. My name is Tessa with HOH Water Technology. My work with pretreatment includes being a bit of a middleman between my customer and our pretreatment specialist team. A funny story about pretreatment that I love that I did recently was we had a customer we took on that no one could solve their pretreatment softener issues. They were not taken care of. They had extremely hard water. But we came in and started poking around, and there was all sorts of different theories. We didn't have enough capacity on the softeners. There wasn't enough salt. But kind of organizing everyone together, we found out that they had put old resin into their new softener tanks. So a bit of freeboard testing later, we found that they needed new resin. And then, we keep uncovering new things. They needed a lot of new valves and heads and pumps. But the customer is over the moon happy. He's just ecstatic and he sings nothing but HOH's praise for being able to do that. So I love solving those complex problems. And I think pretreatment is a lot of that, interesting and complex.
Nation, you might remember Tessa. She appeared on episode 392. That episode was called Breaking Barriers, How Diversity and Confidence Drive Growth in Water Treatment. She joined us with Tammy Faber, and they are two great women in the industrial water treatment field. That was a great episode. And Tessa, thank you so much for dropping by, telling us our story, and happy Pretreatment Monday to you as well. We're going to be hearing from more guests throughout the week, but Nation, I'm so excited for this. This is something that I could not wait to release for the entire year. I had to wait for Industrial Water Week, and as you know, this stuff just doesn't happen last night. Well, what am I talking about? Our friend James McDonald, of course, he is responsible for Industrial Water Week. He filed all the paperwork, and I don't know if there was a court hearing. I don't know what he had to do to get an official holiday declared, but he did it, and it is this week, Industrial Water Week, and it's because of him that we've been able to celebrate for the last 8 years. Well, James has this way of just making learning fun, and he's very creative. Just go to the industrialwaterweek.com website and you can see how creative he is. Of course, we hear him each and every week with What Do You Know? Well, James is also the creator of Detective H2O. And Nation, I am a huge fan of Detective H2O. It's a detective noir series, if you've never heard it before. And James plays the role of Detective H2O, and he looks back in his career and he says, hey, what are some of the things that I learned because of how they happened? And I'm going to write a story in that detective noir fashion, and I'm going to help people learn what I learned when I was experiencing this in a very fun way. So, Nation, this week, we have a brand new Detective H2O each and every day to help you celebrate. And Nation, I had the privilege of recording every single one of our guest appearances, all of our guest voices, and that was so much fun. So all of the people that are guests of the voices of the characters of Detective H2O, you know who you are. Thank you so much for giving us some time, allowing me to record you, and just having some fun together. Now, James has put all of this together into the final production that you are going to hear this week. So you're going to get a brand new Detective H2O each and every day, but we're also going to have a little bit more fun. So many people are getting involved with our social media platform, and we're most active on LinkedIn. Well, we're going to play along with Industrial Water Week all this week, and I want to see if you can identify the guest voice on each and every episode. Now, that being said, on Friday, I am going to unveil each and every guest voice at the very end when we close Industrial Water Week. So play along. We'll see who knows the voices. By the way, all of these voices you have heard on this very podcast before. So there's no surprises. Some, if you know the people, you're immediately going to get it. Some you might have to think back. You might have to listen to some older episodes and try to figure out who these people are. But if you would play along, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And if you're not connected with us on LinkedIn, find Scaling Up H2O, connect with us, find Trace Blackmore, connect with me, and we will make sure that you are part of the fun. Now, speaking of fun, I am so excited. Scaling Up Nation, here is the brand new, the debut release of Detective H2O, The Case of the Singing Canary.
Welcome to Detective H2O, The Case of the Singing Canary. The rain hammered down like blowdown from an overeager cooling tower the day Detective H2O got the call. Louis Stump of Clearflow Industries had a chlorine problem, and his desperation dripped through the receiver.
Detective H2O.
Louis, the plant manager, croaked, his voice raw as an unneutralized pH.
Our chlorine's out of whack. The sodium bisulfite feed is laughing at us. My RO membranes are waving a white flag. We're one compliance violation away from the regulator's chopping block. You've gotta help.
Chlorine attacking membranes, bisulfite threatening overfeed havoc, water regs tightening like a noose. It all smelled like trouble to the water detective. So he grabbed his well-worn, organized test kit and coaxed his blue Ford to drive down to the scene. The operation wasn't a pretreatment plant. It was a circus, and the chlorinated water was a tiger let loose from the cage. As Detective H2O stood next to the sodium bisulfite tank, the plant manager and his lackey started spilling the details. "All right," said the water detective, looking at the setup. "Your bisulfite feed has one job: neutralize all residual chlorine before water touches your thin film composite RO membranes. But right now, you got chlorine sneaking past your dechlor line and wreaking havoc on the system downstream." He paused for effect, letting them absorb before he continued. "Chlorine on thin film composite membranes is like sticking acid in a paper cup. It won't end well. But bisulfite isn't innocent either. It must be fed at the correct ratio and frequency to be effective at its job." Their eyes widened.
So, what do we do, Detective?
"First, we find the bleeding problem. Then we stitch it up tight. Start by walking me through your chemical feed system." Feed pumps. They're like the bartenders of the water world, dosing the right cocktail to keep systems happy. That's the theory anyway. Reality tends to be messier. "Your pump's flow pacing. Is it proportional or guesswork?" the detective asked as it ran.
Proportional,
Louis replied, though his tone betrayed doubt. Detective H2O checked its output with a calibration drawdown test. The numbers didn't lie. The pump was dosing correctly, if the flow meter feeding it data wasn't playing a dirty little game of telephone. He scribbled a note. "We'll need to validate the flow meter next. If it's not telling the truth about your incoming water flow rates, your feed pump will be duped." Detective H2O turned its attention to the flow meter running the proportional feed game, only to find that it wasn't innocent. Comparing it to the other measured flow rates in the overall RO system, this one flow meter stood out as telling a different story, a tall story. "Ah, there's part of your problem," he observed. "Your sodium bisulfite pump thinks it's dosing for the wrong flow, and this wonky flow meter's been fooling it into acting like a rookie bartender. No wonder your chlorine neutralization's all over the board. Let's see what we need to do to fix or replace this flow meter and set your feed proportional to actual flow. Then we'll adjust it for incoming chlorine levels."
But
Lewis began, his jaw working nervously. Bisulfite feed isn't a free-for-all. Too little and chlorine slips through to chew up your membranes. Too much is a waste and can lead to other issues as well. Balance is the name of the game. Once the feed system was purring and the flow meter corrected, Lewis wanted to check for damage downstream. He ordered his guys to pull and replace a membrane so it could be sent for an autopsy. I've been going over your RO data your guys collect. They actually do a thorough job at capturing just what is required. Unfortunately, the data wasn't being given the third degree to make it spill the beans. Putting this data into the membrane manufacturer's normalization program shows decreasing salt rejection and increasing permeate flow rate once the data is adjusted for changes in pressure and temperature. These are two telltale signs of membrane chlorine degradation. Your autopsy will likely confirm this.
Is the damage reversible?
Try irreversible damage instead. These membranes are not coming back from this. They will have to be replaced.
We let it get this far?
Whispered Lewis, his tone edging toward misery. Don't beat yourself up too much, said Detective H2O, softening his voice just a touch. You learned from this. Yes, this could have been caught early. Your tests, your meters, your calibration routines, they're your canaries in the coal mine. You keep those tuned, and that canary will sing long enough to save you a fortune next time. After making adjustments to the flow pacing, validating the flow meter again, and setting a proper proportional feed ratio, the system was back on track. Sodium sulfite was neutralizing chlorine cleanly without under or overfeeding.
I'll call our supplier to order membrane replacements.
The manager sighed as the water detective finished up. You want to do more than that, the water detective said, leveling his glare. You'll need to start monitoring your RO data more closely using the normalization software I shared with you from the membrane manufacturer. You'll need to start validating the calibration and functionality of your water meter and dosing pumps. And next time your chlorine tries to sneak through, you'll want to call me before your membranes look like they've gone through 12 rounds with an industrial blender. Lewis nodded and thanked Detective H2O as he turned on his heels to leave. Another case solved. But this town would always have water problems soaking at its foundations. Detective H2O was up to the challenge, though. In the underbelly and penthouses of the metropolis of Waterville, where the boilers percolate and cooling towers fog, there is one man who works tirelessly to end corrosion, stop scale, fight low-life microbes, and conserve water. That man is Detective H2O, best water treater this side of the Ohio, solving water problems drop by drop.
Nation, I love Detective H2O. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do, and I hope you play along on LinkedIn and let us know who you think that guest voice is. And Nation, tomorrow, of course, we're going to be celebrating Boiler Tuesdays, but don't forget, we're still in Pretreatment Monday, so find your favorite piece of pretreatment equipment and go ahead and grab a picture, hashtag that to IWW25 and Scaling Up H2O, and get ready to celebrate Boiler Tuesday. Happy Industrial Water Week, Scaling Up Nation, and happy Pretreatment Monday. Ready to boost your water treatment expertise? Our Certified Water Technologist Prep course is designed to give you the confidence and skills you need to sign up for the Certified Water Technologist examination. Test your knowledge with our 100-question practice exam and learn what you need to succeed. Go to scalinguph2o.com/CWT prep to get started today.